WWE's inability to create a foundation is exactly why the SmackDown Women's Division sucks. Now, even I, someone that's been very critical of Tiffany Stratton in the past for her in-ring ability and for her mic work not being at where it needs to be for her to be a women's champion, can even admit that she's not the first woman to be in this position. Because we've seen women like Carmella, Ronda Rousey, Nia Jax all struggle in areas, yet they were able to get the championship and have great runs with it. And the reason why they were able to do so is because they had solid foundations for their runs. Tiffany and Giulia Stratton, they don't have this set up for them. If you look at Tiffany Stratton from when her run starts, she was a face against Nia Jax, then she was a heel against Bayley, then she was a face against Charlotte, then she was a face against Nia Jax, then she was a face against the Secret Harvest, although this went absolutely nowhere. Then she was a heel tweener against Trish Stratus, and I don't even know what the heck she was against Jade Cargill. And someone could say, oh, well, she's just a tweener, but the problem is that doesn't work for her. I'm going to use Swerve Strickland as an example because he is my favorite tweener. See, Swerve Strickland started off as a heel with the Mogul Embassy. They were a really hated group. They had a whole lot of bad guys in their group, a lot of just grimy, grungy guys that would just go around attacking people and really being loud and boisterous and in everybody's face and super dang cocky. So they were real easy to hate. You did not like these dudes at all. But then we had the Hangman Adam Page feud, and this allowed us to understand exactly why Swerve is the way he is. It's not because he's a bad guy. It's because he's a guy that feels like as if the world has constantly always been against him, so he had to be a bad guy. And because of this Hangman Adam Page feud, it gave Swerve Strickland the foundation to be a tweener. That's why in 2024, he was able to have a face feud against Christian, but then have a bit of a heel-ish tweener feud against Will Ospreay. And that's the issue with Tiffany Stratton. She doesn't have the foundation to be a face, so you can't make her a face, nor can you make her a tweener. She has the foundation set to be a heel. If you go back and you look at NXT, when she was using the whole Nepo baby character, that was the foundation for being a heel, using daddy's money to get her wherever she wants to, get her the opportunities that she wants to. They never fully expanded upon this, but she at least used some of that, and then being braggadocious as well, to be a very much so hated heel. But where's the foundation for a face at? Even though everybody loves, it's Tiffy time, that's it. There's no connection there with her to be a face. There's no inner struggles there. There's no outer struggles there. There's no nothing. And this isn't to make it about race. This is just to make it about obviousness. When you're a blonde white girl from the middle of America and your whole gimmick is being a Nepo baby, you're really going to need a good reason for us to connect to you other than just screaming it's Tiffy time. And the crowd does not have this connection with her at all. People like her, sure. A lot of people even love her because she's a girly girl and all that. But that's not going to get anybody to be fully invested into you. You need reasonings for that, which is why Tiffany Stratton needs to be a heel. But there's a reason why WWE has not made her into a full-time heel. And it's because they have not set a foundation for a big babyface on SmackDown's women's roster. It was supposed to be Bianca Belair, but they focused Bianca Belair on Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, so then she had to move over to Monday Night Raw. And then she got hurt in that match, so now they haven't had her for the past 4 or 5 months. Or at least that's a lot of the excuses that are being made. The truth is, WWE just does not want to turn her heel. Because if the plan was always to have Bianca Belair eventually dethrone Tiffany Stratton, you could set that up now by making her a big-time heel so that we anticipate Bianca's return even more. So we're anticipating this Bianca Belair-Tiffany Stratton match even more. And honestly, that should have been the whole point of this Trish Stratus match, was to turn her heel. Because she was saying that she's beating everybody. She's beating Bayley. She's beating Charlotte, 2 of the 4 horsewomen. She's beating Nia Jax, one of the only women to really have a second prime. And now she's beating Trish Stratus. Why would you not turn into the most braggadocious character there is? If I beat all these dang legends, I'm going around talking my shit to everybody. I'm acting like my shit don't stink. I am acting cocky towards any and everybody. I'm talking down to people in the locker rooms and all that. And that's what they should have done with Tiffany. But instead, in the Jade Cargill feud, you had Tiffany save Jade. And then you just had them basically be like, kind of cocky towards each other, but not really, because they were kind of respectful about it as well. Like, imagine if Tiffany Stratton was talking down and being super braggadocious to Jade Cargill. Then Jade Cargill, obviously being cool with Bianca Belair, would set up a big time return for Bianca Belair. We would all be hammering home that we want Bianca, we need Bianca. Somebody's got to take this woman down, because now she's even going after people that you are cool with. Mind you, she beat Jade Cargill and she still didn't act super braggadocious. Like, she beat all the other women that I said, and now you just beat one of the hottest free agents in WWE, and you still don't act super braggadocious about it. Like you kind of give a little bit of it, but it's not like to the fullest extent with it. It's like as if they just don't want her to turn heel because she's super over with the crowd, which makes no sense because Seth Rollins is right there. And again, I'm going to say this and I'm going to hammer this home. I don't care that Tiffany Stratton doesn't have the greatest abilities in the world when it comes to the mic work or the ring work. If she is a super braggadocious heel that none of us can stand because she's so braggadocious and we know that she's not good in these areas, it's going to make her an even better heel. Look at Carmella when she dethroned Charlotte Flair, then beat her and beat Asuka and was bragging about it. Boy, we did not like that at all. We were like, we know you are not that good. Why are you acting like you're better than them? But because she had beat them, she had a whole lot of stake to claim that she is one of the best on the roster or is the best on the roster, and we really couldn't argue it. But we hated the fact that we couldn't argue it, which made her an even better heel. Or if you really wanted to make Tiffany Stratton a big-time babyface, maybe after WrestleMania, don't put her in a match with Jade Cargill, who you're also trying to make it to a big-time babyface by having this big old feud against Naomi. Because why would you want your two top babyfaces who are not the most experienced on the same brand? That's just a recipe for disaster. Now, to speak about Giulia, this foundation is even worse than Tiffany Stratton's. Because we got to start off with this pairing. Can anybody tell me why Giulia is working with Kiana James? And please do not use because Giulia needs somebody to speak on the mic because Giulia can't speak English that well. Oh, exactly. Nobody could tell me why the heck Giulia is working with Kiana James. Like, mind you, Giulia beat Zelina Vega for the US belt, then took 4 weeks off and just randomly came back with Kiana James. Now, the reason why Giulia is with Kiana is because they want to just make it so much easier on themselves and don't want to do a whole bunch of video packages and subtitles and all that stuff. So by having Kiana there, Kiana could just speak for Giulia. But they barely even do that. They only do it in backstage segments, and it's for like a couple seconds. So there's no foundation for this pairing at all. Then you look at Giulia being a heel, which also has no foundation either. So Giulia comes onto the main roster with Roxanne Perez. They take out Io Sky and Stephanie, and we're supposed to just understand this, even though we had seen that Giulia and Roxanne had a big old freaking feud in NXT. Why would we care about that? Then you break up the pairing for no reason, make us assume that as if Giulia is now going to turn face, comes over to Monday Night Raw, you have her going face-to-face with Charlotte, you don't do really much with that at all. Then you eventually have Giulia helping out Zelina Vega, then you have Giulia turning heel. Mind you, with quite literally no explanation. Then you got her beating up on 3 women who, and I love all 3 of these women dearly. You have not given us a reason to actually care about them. Other than possibly Zelina Vega, but you've only really given us the whole LWO thing with us to really care about her as a face, because before that, she was mainly a heel. But Michin and B-Fab, again, I love both of these women, but I think most people probably view them as jobbers. So why would the crowd care for 3 women who lack a connection with the in-person crowd, because the crowd just does not cheer for them at all, it seems, even though a lot of y'all say that y'all love all 3 of these women online. I don't get it. But why would anybody care that Giulia is just beating up these 3 women? Like, just because she's beating up 3 women and yeah, sure, it's not right, just go around beating people up, nobody's gonna care about that. No, you should have had her beating up a bigger babyface that people would actually care about. They thought it was Zelina because of the online, popularity of Zelina Vega, but I don't think they factored in that their crowd barely even pops when she comes on out. The worst part about it is, though, for Giulia, she's fighting the same women that Chelsea Green was fighting. And she's using the exact same tactics of 2-on-1 or 3-on-1s. This is why they should have just kept Giulia by herself. Mind you, you pair up with a woman that wears a suit and tie, after Chelsea Green was with 2 women that wear suits and ties. Oh, good job. I want to show y'all some good foundation. Bayley's Women's Championship run last year. So after getting betrayed by Damage Control and then dethroning Io Sky, Bayley would go into a semi-feud with Tiffany Stratton and Naomi. This match had a face-heel dynamic where the other face at least, was Bayley's best friend, and then obviously Tiffany Stratton was a young rising superstar that really wanted to get over and wanted to get titles. Then you got Piper Niven, a hometown girl who's a heel that feels like she's been disrespected and hasn't gotten any kind of opportunities in WWE, so she's going to take a big opportunity by going after Bayley. Then you got Nia Jax and their whole entire history with each other. Like, see how we mainly have heels here, or Naomi, who has a great connection with Bayley? Yeah, we didn't do that with Tiffany, nor Giulia. Hell, another great one is Chelsea Green. Look at the foundation she already had set up. She had the whole big-time rivalry with Michin before acquiring the US title, then she had a big-time rivalry with her after getting the title. Then, and I promise you, this is not photoshopped at all, we add Zelina Vega to this, who's really good friends with Michin. Again, foundations being set up for why Zelina Vega would help Michin. Had we set up some kind of foundation for why Giulia would even want to work with Kiana, even though she already acquired the US title, it would make more sense to have this pairing, other than Giulia just needs an English speaker. Now, with that said, there's a few ways to easily fix this SmackDown Women's division. We're going to start with Tiffany Stratton, because this is literally the easiest one. If she beats Stephanie Valkyrie, which she probably should, by the way, because you had Liv Morgan win last year and she was the women's world champion, so you probably want your WWE women's champion to win this year. The following SmackDown, she needs to be on that show talking her talk. Before she even grabs a mic, she need to be pushing folk out the way. She need to be acting like she's better than everybody. She need to be looking down on folk and all of that stuff. She needs to act like as if she is the number one now. And again, she kind of does it, but it's like in spurts. They'll do it and then they won't do it, then they'll do it, then they won't do it. She needs to just fully stick to it, make her be a big time heel so that we're super anticipating the Bianca Belair return. If it is going to be Bianca, that's the one that's going to be dethroning Tiffany Stratton. Mind you, this opens up her now being able to basically fight anybody on the card because she doesn't have to prove herself anymore. She's beaten literally everybody. She can fight whoever she wants now. And now all we're going to do when we see her fighting like mid-carders, we're going to be like, is this person going to beat her? Is this person going to beat her? Is this person going to beat her? Like, we're actually going to be wanting her to now get dethroned. Which, if her second half of her run is a lot better than her first half and she has more of her character here, and you're actually allowing her to really go in with this full-on braggadocious, cocky heel and all that, we're going to like this run way more. We're not even going to care about the start of this run. Nobody's going to talk about it. Or people are going to talk about it in a whole different light. Now we're like, whoa, wait, hold on. Looking back at Tiffany Stratton's run, she literally beat everybody. She was going through the whole dang roster. And because she was this way in NXT, WWE does not have to add a what? They don't have to add a foundation because the foundation has already been set. You can easily just have the commentator say, this is how Tiffany Stratton's always been. She's always been braggadocious. Go look at her in NXT. She acted the exact same way. She acted like she was better than everybody. Now, as far as Giulia, you have to break this up. You have to. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. There's no past history of Kiana James, like, doing this and helping people get higher up. Like, there's nothing there at all. Maybe had you had Kiana James come in and help her get the U.S. Championship, then fine, but as of right now, no. But you don't need to have it be permanently because we can still set a foundation. Have Giulia lose the belt to either a Michin or a B-Fab because of Kiana James. And then you have a short little thing where Kiana tries to, get picked up by Giulia and then Giulia just walks away from her. She doesn't want to help her at all. And then when we set up a Giulia Michin rematch, that should be like in like 2, maybe like 3 weeks away. Have Kiana James just pestering Giulia, trying to get back cool with her, constantly knocking on her locker room door and all that stuff, and Giulia just turning her down every single time. Then when Giulia gets her rematch against Michin, this is where you have Kiana James help Giulia out. Now you have a foundation there. Kiana needs Giulia. Giulia doesn't need Kiana. Now we have it set that, so Kiana was the one that needed Giulia the entire time. Kiana needed Giulia to have fame and success and all this stuff. Now it sets some kind of foundation for this whole entire pairing. If you don't want to go this way, though, you just quite simply break these two up by having Kiana just cost Giulia the title and then have Giulia just whooping Kiana's ass. But I don't think you need to go that way, to be honest, though. I think you can keep them together. But what I do know, though, is that it's not solely on these two women why the SmackDown Women's division is bad. It's quite simply just on WWE and not being able to lay down a freaking foundation. If you wonder why it looks so good on Raw compared to SmackDown, by the way, it's because all of these foundations have already been set way before. Becky and Lyra was set all the way back in NXT. Rhea and Io has been set all the way back in NXT. Io and Asuka and Kyrie, that's been set years upon years ago. So, yeah, a lot of those are very easy to do. And then obviously AJ Lee's whole entire thing is set up because Becky Lynch has a big old, not really a feud with like AJ Lee outside of wrestling, but she has said a few things here and there. Nothing like too crazy, just more so that a lot of the chants and stuff like that from the CM Punk chants and the AJ Lee chants would be ringing through her matches, and she would get annoyed by the fact that they're cheering for them and not for her, which is actually a true thing, by the way. She actually said that in one of her books. So yeah, it's just a lot easier for WWE with Raw than it is SmackDown, because SmackDown, you have to basically set all this up from scratch. And as far as like any other ways you could fix it with like call-ups and stuff like that, unless you're going to call up like 10, 15 women that all have connection with each other, it's just not going to work, because if you call up Jordynne Grace, who are the heels she's going to face? You have Chelsea Green and the Secret Harvest there, but they're trying to find a third member. You have Nia Jax, maybe, but Nia Jax has been constantly in the world title scene, so if you put her down to the mid-card scene, it's going to be odd. Unless you have Jordynne Grace go to the world title scene, but, well, I mean, that might actually help the world title scene out, but Again, there's only one heel, so there's also that issue. And if you call up Blake Monroe, the same thing persists. There's no faces besides Jade Cargill, and that's it. And then eventually Bianca Belair when she comes in. Also, do you really want to gut NXT's roster by taking out two of their biggest stars? That would be crazy. But hey, y'all go ahead and let me know down below, though. What do y'all think it actually fixed SmackDown Women's Division? Do you think that it does need a fixing in general? Do you like how it is? Do you like these women being on top of their divisions? Do you think that maybe a cleansing could, maybe just getting some of the women out of there and moving some women on over to Raw, to SmackDown, maybe even making a bunch of call-ups from NXT, bringing in some TNA women maybe? Go ahead and let me know down below. And if you haven't already, make sure you do like and follow for more. Also, if you made it to the end of this video, go ahead and let me know down below as well, because shout out to you. You are a freaking GOAT if you did.